Bitches presents.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's time to pump it up. It's time to move it to you. It's time to make you move.
Now, it is time to play.
Started really in community radio, and as my music career was happening, I thought, oh, look, I'll give something back to the community, and I really enjoyed radio at the time. Then I was actually offered a job at Double CFM radio, which is now the Kicks FM in Bundaberg, and
Larry Keane.
Yeah, and it was just a really good job to have, and I learned a lot about professional commercial radio at the time.
Yes.
Know how to do all the production side of things as well, which has also come in handy for the career because I've been able to do, all my own advertising, radio and voiceovers and things like that. So I've been lucky, and, to have the actual product happening now that I'm producing myself on a regular basis and being picked up by so many, it's pretty spectacular, really.
Now, Kerry, you've got a band. It's called The Rivers. Depending on what you're doing, you go from a solo through to duos, trios, or through to your seven-piece band. How do you find that? Do you like working as a solo or the band or a trio? Which would you prefer?
Oh, I like it all. I've got to say, I'm spoilt rotten. I get the best of everything. I do enjoy that intimate acoustic thing, which is, like come into my lounge room, sit down and really listen, and I mean that from the perspective of a concert performance. Just so nice to be able to really communicate with people. It's a different concept show. When we do the band show, it's pretty full on, and it's a very, energy packed, pretty dynamic. So there's really the difference in the two, and I do enjoy that sort of more intimate setting, I must admit.
And where do you get your inspiration for all your music and songs from anyway, Kerry?
I'm really one of those artists, I guess, and songwriters that I watch and I listen. I'm forever just waiting for somebody to say something. There might be just one line. I'm an observer, and even to the point where it might just be one little phrase and suddenly I've got an entire song.
Is this where I believe that the back of chocolate wrappers come in handy?
It does. I am. Look, I'm a chocoholic. I got to admit it. I'm very naughty. I tend to just have those little pieces of paper beside me, and I do write. It might be just little lyrics, Sometimes I have occasionally used a little note taker, but in all honesty, it's usually what I do find if I've written something down, I might hum it or sing it until the next stop, and then actually put it onto my laptop or something like that. So I'm the most unique songwriter I think that there is.
And does it wake you up at night?
Absolutely. To be honest, I have a little book right next to my bed. It just might be one line, enough for me to sort of, relax and go back to sleep, and tomorrow morning, have another go at it. Usually I find most of my songs I write pretty well all in one go. It doesn't take me terribly long. I usually know when the good ones come because they take me maybe five minutes at the most, 10 minutes top, and it's just free-flowing. You just know, and I'm very much a melody. I enjoy looking for melodies. Because I'm a singer, I actually write and sing melodies at the same time, so then all I've got to do is basically find my chords. But, it's a good process, I think.
Now, listen, a few years ago back, we nearly lost you. You had a bit of a cancer scare, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
You're all over that now?
I unfortunately developed a tumour on my ovary. It was quite a scary time because we didn't know really what we were going to really face. But, I was encouraged to go along with the surgery, and, it was a wait and see. Thankfully, it was okay. But, things changed for me during that time. I would say it would probably be one of the most traumatic times of my life. Very fortunate that I had a lot of really wonderful support around me, and, it took me a little while to get back, and I must admit some people in our industry still think that, she must have died or something, but I'm still here.
Well and truly.
It's good to see that you're over there, but I also believe, though, that's not the only time you've had a life-threatening incident.
Well, yeah. I was actually over on Kingfisher Bay Resort working. We were doing a corporate event, and the lights caught fire. We were just having a pre-dinner drink or pre-show drink, actually, with a few of the clients, and it actually caught fire. And so stupid me was sort of like, well, try to get to the actual PowerPoint, and I couldn't get to the PowerPoint at all because the flames were really coming out of it quite badly, and I just thought that the whole thing was going to catch fire. I thought we were just going to lose the whole room, the staging, the guitars, everything. So the first instinct I had was to sort of reach over and, rip it out, not pull it out with my hands, but lift my hand upwardly and, touch it very lightly, but I got a jolt, and, it flung me quite badly. I had dreadful problems all my body was just, pretty well in a lot of agony. I had a hell of a lot of agony in every joint of my body, and it just lasted and lasted. I had heart palpitations. It was quite erratic for a while. I was pretty crook for a few days. It really took me quite a bit to get over. Luckily, I did the right thing. I didn't actually grab the lead. What it was, where the lights had come, had gone, caught fire, part of the lead had actually gone bare, and I hadn't seen that. So as I put my hand to pull it up, it ripped onto that, and that's where I got the jolt. So I was very, very lucky. I'm very lucky to be here. Severe as it could have been.
No song coming out of that like Supergirl or something like that?
Well, you never know. I haven't thought about that.
Now, Kerry, your latest album, Stay, was released back in June 2008, and the title track off that day, which we heard at the intro. Now, I believe you were having a bit of a girly moment when you wrote that.
You've really researched this. Yeah, look, I really did. I was watching one of those movies, that you sit back and cry your heart out with.
Yes.
The film was called Stay, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to have one of those tissue days. And it really was so sad. It was about a guy who was basically trying to get to his fiancée to ask her to marry him, and he died. Anyway, I sort of sat back and I thought, gosh, no, start writing, So I just started writing this stuff. It all just poured out of me. And I guess it's on a similar vein that, it's basically, I guess, about unrequited love in a way. And that's where the song really came from, though. I was really fortunate because I actually went into studio with Michael Fix to record the song. So lucky to be able to do that. It was a very magic moment to produce that with Michael, to go into studio and do that with Michael, because he's such a phenomenal player in his own right. But he just added something special to the track, and it's a very emotionally connected song. I feel very emotionally connected to it. But I must admit, I did have a girly moment. That's where it all started.
It worked out beautifully, actually, and with that string background.
Savannah Jo Lack. Savannah's actually a Toowoomba girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's now living in San Francisco. So we got her to do the fiddle on it via the internet, which is the way recording works these days. But she's an amazing player in her own right too.
Talking about this internet thing, I believe that you got to the stage there where you can write a song here and send it over to England, put down the music, then send it back here via the internet, then you put the words to it, then put it on a CD.
That's exactly how it works now.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. And, there's a really wonderful thing on that note. I got to meet up with the Billy Ocean band this year, and when they toured Australia in June, I've become very good friends with his producer, so we've actually, formed a bit of a company to produce stuff exactly that way, so that we have the best of the best musicians in the UK. Sometimes some of the guys from Australia as well are in on the project, but we record things, in all aspects all over the world, and just bring it together in one product here in Australia.
You think that's the way of the future now, Kerry? You think the CD is going to get phased out and it's all going to be internet download?
I absolutely do. I'm still a collector. I really like to collect CDs like anybody. I've probably still got my record collection because they're collector's items. But I do think that the MP3 thing is really happening at the moment. And to be honest, the sales that I have on iTunes and Amazon Music are really, really good. So, a lot of artists, particularly for independent artists, again, who don't have a major company behind them for marketing, it's the easiest way to sell your product, and it really works.
Getting back stuck in the middle with you did that with Michael O'Rourke and Steve Eales, and I've had a look at the film clip, and it looks like you had a ball doing that.
Oh, Kevin, we really did. It was a lot of fun, and I must admit, I haven't really ever gotten over the laughter. We laughed all day, and the boys were really wicked. They were, particularly Steve Eales, because he knew I get a little bit of vertigo from time to time, and I'm not really, once upon a time I used to like all the rides and things like that. I can't go on them these days, so for me to actually doing any of those roundabout rides that you saw on the video clip was really difficult. I was quite green part of the day. So Steve actually sort of felt sorry for me after he'd spun me around about 30 times. Yeah, we had a ball, and Michael O'Rourke, we actually came up to the part in it where we were at the clowns, and that part came up in the song that, the part that says that calling me a clown, and I thought, well, Michael, gee, you'd look good as a clown in this. But of course we did. We made him up like a clown, and we put his head in there as if he was one of the clowns that you put the balls in the mouth.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. It was just so funny. We laughed all day. It was hilarious, and it's turned out quite well.